Oh no.
Yeah, the headline was like, people are upset they sold their MacBook before WWDC, and it's a whole article just about how people sold their MacBook Pros or just their MacBook in general in preparation for DubDub because somebody on this podcast said that a MacBook was coming, and so people literally, based on that alone, sold their MacBook and just absolutely lit my ass on fire on Twitter yesterday. And this article is literally just about that. Like, imagine if, I mean, because everyone works, right? Most people go to work. Imagine if your mistake at work happened in front of hundreds of thousands of people and made the news. There's a news article just based off of your mistake and everyone's response to your mistake. Like that's what my life is.
Hurts.
You know, you go to work and you make a mistake and it's just your boss usually like chews your asshole out, but it's just you in a private room.
Yeah.
You go home and tell your wife, hey man, hey man, wife.
Hey man.
It was a rough day at work, but no, everyone was, there was an arena of 100,000 people or more watching you at work, watching you make the mistake. And then when you went home, they wrote a news article about it.
Damn.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
Oh,
and usually I
man.
can tell you where a mistake happened, or like if there was a miscommunication. I got nothing for what occurred yesterday. I was very sure about a MacBook Pro going into it, and I was just as sure when it ended. I was like, nah, the live stream will start again, and then they'll just announce it. Tim Cook will now. When they come back to Tim, and it was like there was like 15 minutes of the event left, I was like, oh, we're golden. But then he went home.
Yep.
Then
I was also, dude, it set back up. I was like, this is it. This is the MacBook we're waiting for. I'm so ready to just buy instantly. I had thought it was going to be a preview. I thought it was just going to be like the Mac Pro a couple years ago.
Same, because I was told
it now.
Yeah, I was told things were going to start happening towards the end of July. So I figured we were going to have an announcement and then shipments at the end of July. But that is not what happened at all, actually. And see, here's the thing. I have been wrong before. That has occurred. Not every leaker or person that publishes leaks is 100% accurate. That's why you have Apple Track. But this one bummed me out extra because, I mean, I think only you knew this behind the scenes, Sam. FrontPageTech.com was launching today with an exclusive. And I guess I could still roll the exclusive, but in my head, it just matters less. It has much less of an impact if I publish an exclusive a day after my last exclusive was incorrect. Like if this happened right after when was the last event? April?
Yeah.
Where I was the one who said the April event was happening and said colored iMacs were coming. That was a good event for me.
Yeah.
If I would have launched the day after that, golden. But no. But people easily forget all that stuff the second stuff like this happens. Like I tweeted Google because they were like, Made by Google put out a tweet saying, "Oh, this is a great pairing or the perfect pairing," and it was like Pixel Buds and the Pixel 5 or whatever. And so I tweeted them and said, "Shout out to another perfect pairing," and showed the Pixel Watch and the Pixel 6. And of course, everyone thought that was funny, but then there was a few people being like, "Hey, so since your Apple leaks aren't going well, you just doing this now?" Like people, I have been doing both, and it's just brutal. Like, oh, your Apple leaks those are terrible now. After one thing is incorrect, the internet does not forget. They do not. Yeah, they don't let you live it down. Oh, actually, the problem is they do forget. They forgot like the week before and the week before that. And my entire career as MacBook Pros were coming at WWDC, and there were so many sources on this, and I don't want to incriminate anyone. There was sources behind the scenes, but also people that don't work at Apple that were told, and talk to them after, and they were. I mean, it doesn't even fucking matter now, but they were briefed, just as I had mentioned. But it was like, I don't want to say there was some sort of conspiracy because the thing was talked about.
Sure.
But it was just like a heads up. We're gonna need you to meet with us at this time in like 2 weeks. That's what it was. So I don't know if it was like a purposeful make people think that a MacBook Pro, or they were going to be briefed about a MacBook Pro, or what. But it was basically like, how they announced the Apple Music announcement before the actual announcement. It was like a pre-announcement.
Mm-hmm.
This was like a pre-brief to a thing that hasn't even happened yet, and they haven't talked about yet. So I don't know what happened.
So there's another briefing happening in a couple weeks?
Yeah. I don't know if there's an event or anything. It might just be a private thing.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we'll find out then. The people that are going to be briefed are kind of kept in the dark right now. They don't have a big hint as to what's happening. Yeah.
I mean, even if they do just do a private briefing in a couple of weeks, it is still odd that they didn't. Why would they not mention it on the main stage at a developer conference? Like, just to announce it. Because
that's the confusing
be,
part.
Finalized, right? It's not like they're still actively engineering this thing and it's like, oh, we got a rough schematic to show the press or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, it's going to be coming out in a couple of months. It would have made so much sense, especially in an event that honestly was like relatively underwhelming.
Yeah, I guess we haven't talked about the actual event yet, but I'm confused as to, because if it's coming as soon as, we're assuming, or it looks like, it's weird that they didn't, when they had the stage time to do it then. I mean, do you see an event happening next month? Or do you really think they're going to announce an M1X MacBook Pro redesign through a press release?
I mean, the press release would be weird, but I'm pretty sure Gurman did say a couple months ago that there was going to be some event during the summer that was like, he said the MacBooks were coming this summer. And then he also said that remember he said the VR headset was going to be announced like this summer at an in-person event. He did that whole write-up about how Apple doesn't like the digital events because they want people to go hands-on. I mean, maybe that makes sense because there was no one there. Like we had fucking Memojis in the crowd. The Memoji's going to make a video about the MacBook Pro? No. They were just...
You don't think that they're going to stuff an in-person event in like the next few weeks?
I mean, I definitely wouldn't be like super shocked because if you noticed, I mean, listen, I'm getting conspiratorial, but we were talking about this. You've made me start thinking this way when you talked about like they pre-announced Apple Music and then they launched Apple Music Spatial Audio and Lossless Audio yesterday, but it was like a super big footnote. Like, did you notice how they barely, like at first they're like, this is the biggest thing to happen to music since Apple Music. And then it just kind of came out 8 hours at night.
Yeah.
And nothing happened.
It was all for the trial that was happening that week. I mean, Phil Schiller, Craig Federighi, and Tim Cook were all testifying that week. It was just a distraction. It's like how I was, not to be Alex Jones here, but last week, the Fauci emails came out. Dr. Fauci's emails.
I haven't read these.
Okay, so the Fauci emails leaked. Just not to get too far into it, but he basically in the emails, he mentions that he believes it was possibly engineered and that masks don't help that much because the virus travels through the fibers of the mask. So basically the opposite of what the public was told. That's beside the point. When the day that the emails leaked, it wasn't trending on Twitter or anything because you know what was? UFOs and aliens. It was like there was this big distraction that went out. The day that the Fauci emails came out, they were like, oh, we're going to release information about aliens. Look over here, UFOs. Look, we're going to release this information in a little bit. That's what Tim Cook was doing. It was basically like he had to testify, that this is a big anti-competitive trial going on. And while the big names are testifying, probably answering questions they don't want regular customers to hear the answers to, suddenly they have this very big, important Apple Music announcement when they're not even rolling a feature out. That was basically their UFOs and aliens. They're just like, hey, look over here. Aliens have AirPods. We need to tell you right now.